Is it Raw or is it SmackDown? Richie, what is the concept?
So the concept is if these stars had to retire today and we have to hang their jersey on the rafters, would it be a Raw jersey or a SmackDown jersey?
Historically, Raw kind of tugs at my heart. Richie's more of a SmackDown guy. Seth, are you a Raw or a SmackDown guy to your core, you think?
I'm a Raw guy to the core.
Finally!
Oh, we finally got one for you, Ryan.
Go! Woo!
Watch it since the beginning.
With SmackDown marks these whole time, Seth.
Dude, you know I got you, right?
All right, well, let's see if I got you once you spin the wheel. And here we go, Seth. Your first guy up will be...
Ooh.
Okay. All right, gut reaction. SmackDown, Richie.
SmackDown.
Seth.
SmackDown.
All right, let's take a look at the stats. I feel like we could be swayed with the stats. I mean, it was kind of a hard one for me gut reaction-wise, so I'm curious if the stats will sway. All right, the Raw stats for Bayley was 2022 was her best year, winning the Raw title in March 2017, starting Damage Control on Monday Night Raw, her feud with Bianca Belair in 2022, her Lyra Intercontinental title match from April 2025, and the Tag Team Championship with the Boston Hug Connection in 2019. Richie, what are her SmackDown stats?
So her premier year that we came up with was 2020. Number one memorable moment being the Thunderdome team with Sasha Banks, the Sasha feud in 2020 coming right after that, the Io Sky feud in 2024 that led to that wonderful match at WrestleMania 40. And then we have the tag team gauntlet with Lyra, wonderful performance earlier this year. And then we had her SmackDown title win against Charlotte Flair that debuted that new Role Model Bayley.
Yes, and she had 168 Raw matches, 92 SmackDown matches. 57% of her matches were on Monday Night Raw. 43% of her matches were on SmackDown. Seth, SmackDown was your gut reaction. Now that you've kind of digested some of the stats, where are you leaning with Bayley? Is she Raw or is she SmackDown?
See, in my mind, I'm still thinking in my head, Bayley and just her feud with Michael Cole, but that was, although it's right, but although it seems like it was for so long, I mean, it was really just a little blip on the radar, I guess. Looking at the stats too, I mean, there were a lot more moments on Raw in 2022, but I still picture her more on the blue brand.
Okay, so Richie, when I closed my eyes, I think it was the hardest for me. But when I closed my eyes initially, I thought Thunderdome and I thought SmackDown, and I really thought starting as the role model. But she started her career on Monday Night Raw in 2017, and she had kind of elements still of that hugger character on Raw. She never really had that hugger character on SmackDown. So the iteration that we see Bayley now on the main roster and the iteration that we are used to is kind of that role model-ish character that she has now. So that's probably why I felt SmackDown, but I'll play a little devil's advocate here. First title win was on Raw for the Raw title. So her first WrestleMania match was as Raw champion. Her first tag title win was on the Raw brand with her probably biggest friend and her biggest foe, Sasha Banks. Her mid-card title match was pretty stellar with Lyra. And perhaps her best modern feud was Belair outside of the Damage Control stuff. And you could say Damage Control was a Raw thing too, and that really kind of propelled her modern day push, so to speak. I think there's definitely enough juice if you wanted to pick Raw. Why don't you talk about SmackDown or what you think, Richie? I don't know. I'm on the fence, to be honest. I'm going to kind of mull on it. Richie, you could sway me either way.
I mean, with SmackDown, you got the lovely show Ding Dong Hello that we haven't mentioned yet. On Raw, you have This Is Your Life with Bayley, which is categorically one of the worst segments of all time. Even Kurt Angle said it on air. It's bad when they admit it was terrible television the next week or even like during the week. But with SmackDown, it just was the complete package that Bayley had at that point, where when she turned heel on Charlotte, she got the new haircut, the new Karen style that people dubbed it, took out the Bayley buddies, and it really did rejuvenate her career because when she was on Raw and she was still kind of the pseudo hugger character, they were teasing like different feuds with her. Like, they did like the Sasha will they won't they feud for a long time. And they had this feud that didn't really pay off anything or anywhere until they won like the tag titles, where they were the inaugural champions. Yes, but it wasn't really a story about them, if that makes sense. They were just there to win the championships, to drop them to the Iconics at WrestleMania for a very short run at that point. And when you get to SmackDown, they had a much better team with Bayley at the forefront. And I think a lot of people put Sasha ahead of Bayley when Bayley got called up because Sasha was the more popular figure. But during the Thunderdome era, that's where Bayley really broke out into her own as a heel, which I don't think a lot of people expected because she was just so well known for this babyface character. So I think with SmackDown, like we talked about in the Becky Lynch episode, it just gave Bayley more of an opportunity to make it her show. And I think with SmackDown, she was given more opportunity to make it her show rather than on Raw, where she's a cog in the machine.
Now, Seth, I got a volley for you. Would her title run in 2024 be considered a success in your mind?
No, because she won title, but there wasn't much memorability to the run before she lost it at SummerSlam last year. She won at WrestleMania, had a few matches on TV, and then lost to Nia. And I remember the loss to Nia more than any of the title defenses on SmackDown. Yeah. So I'm gonna say no.
Would that be a negative tick towards her SmackDown? Because I'm just continuing the devil's advocate gimmick, right? And with the Thunderdome, which is historically, I guess, the worst modern era in the recent modern era, but she was the highlight of that. On SmackDown? Is that like a negative towards, or is that a positive towards? Like, she's a hard egg to kind of crack here, in my opinion, because you can go either way. If you feel strong about one thing, you're not wrong. You feel strong about the other thing, you're not wrong. It's like but that's like Bayley's whole run. That's why she's kind of polarizing. Like, I know some people that have her as the number 1 horsewoman and a distant number 4 horsewoman. She's kind of hard to kind of navigate career-wise, and I'm kind of feeling that now. Seth, do you have anything to kind of sway us here as we kind of go to the vote soon?
I loved that, that 2 belts with her and Sasha when they had during the Thunderdome, doing what we talked about before. And I'm closing my eyes and I'm thinking, where am I putting her? I'm probably, if we're looking at a chessboard of superstars, I'm putting her on the SmackDown side. That's her show, I think her current run, which odd because they haven't done a draft to move her anywhere that I could remember, but her current run right now is more on Raw. But Michael Cole, you're an idiot. That is what I'm thinking of every time I close my eyes, and I think right now,
Yeah, Richie, I think it's time to vote. I think it's close, but I think her peak was the Thunderdome, and that was the majority of that was on SmackDown. So I'm going to vote SmackDown, Richie.
I'm going to vote SmackDown as well. You brought up her recent championship run being a negative towards SmackDown, or potential negative towards SmackDown. I think that kind of gets outweighed by her enormous run as the SmackDown Women's Champion during the Thunderdome era. I think she held it to close to a year or around, or whereabouts around there.
Little hot potato-ish with Sasha, maybe, but yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Or with Asuka, with Asuka, yeah.
Yeah, because with Asuka was that was more towards Sasha. With Bayley, she did like the whole year run, and I think like that is more of a positive because she had the women's division on SmackDown and Raw on lock at that point as a SmackDown superstar. Also, winning the Money in the Bank and winning the Rumble as a SmackDown superstar, I think kind of solidifies it as SmackDown being more her show and being more recognizable as a SmackDown star than a Raw star.
And honestly, the Bayley Sasha feud at the end of that run was pretty good as well.
Mhm.
Right. So, all right. Is it a clean sweep, Seth? You going to go with the SmackDown vote?
Yep, I started with SmackDown. I'm staying with SmackDown.
All right. Bayley SmackDown, anonymous. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Who's up next?